why women will never love men. Now, shut. Sorry about that. Yeah. Ariane, remember? Welcome on board. Now, this is a very interesting topic today, and I want to analyze something that maybe you might end up not liking. Now, let's understand first, what is love? What is love to you men? Let me define to you what is love to women. Emotional attachment, that is love to women. Feelings of affection sometimes towards you, Isaac, because that is how she feels. That is love to women. You doing things for her. Sometimes she feels or experiences those feelings from you, and then she thinks she's in love with you, and then that is love to women. Now, let's deal with the fact here. Now, women need to experience chaos and drama. Again, women need to experience chaos and drama. And in this moment, there is no love. She won't show you love. There is only suffering, turmoil. You name them. Hannah and Isaac, you have a relationship that you have created. This relationship exists because she exists and you exist. But all these relationship, it's just a feeling. And you are the experiencee. So you are to experience the feeling. She is the experiencee. So she is supposed to experience the feeling. And this relationship, if you want me to tell you the fact, it doesn't exist. It is just a fabricated reality feeling that Hannah and you have created. But when we want to see the fact as it is without creating and fabricating its fixtures and trying to think we have a relationship, if you want to see the fact as it is, there is just a feeling and each one of you is experiencing the feeling. Are we done with that? Is it still complicated? So, your feeling can be extraordinary if there is someone else. When that someone else isn't around, you can't experience that feeling. Your feeling alone will be totally different and totally unique. So, this relationship in the real world, it doesn't exist yet. It is fabricated and we think it exists. She knows logically, a relationship exists. Now, when she is going through sorrow, because sorrow is a sense that exists in Hannah and it also exists in you, Isaac. Maybe you can deal with your sorrow differently, or maybe you do not know that the sorrow exists. Because how Hannah will start chaos and drama, it will heighten your sorrow sense, and now you will also experience the sorrow in a more different angle. And maybe you will go to the club because your wife is stressing you. But reality is you also have a sorrow sense. Once she heightens it, you don't experience the sorrow in a different lens. So you don't deal with the reality as it is. You start living her reality. And now you think you have a problem, but you want this relationship to work. And she knows you want this relationship to work. When I talk about hypergamy, it's more of a feeling. Why? Why a feeling? Because it's how I feel about your social status being higher value than mine, because that raises how I will be perceived by the outward world, by other people. And how I will be perceived is what makes me feel in a certain way psychologically. Even when you are on a higher social status, but then your fulfillment of hypergamy doesn't make me feel in a certain way that I want to feel, then you are not fulfilling that hypergamy in my own reality. And it will never be enough. And now because it's not enough, I am experiencing the sorrow sense. Now I start blaming you. We are not growing. You always do this. Why? That convinces me to think that the sorrow that I am experiencing is because of you, and that gives me more clarity to always have a reason to why I am experiencing this. And it will make sense to you because there is proof of we are not growing. There's proof of we are stagnant, because logically this is making sense. And logically, you know, both of you have a relationship. So it's about the relationship we need to move. But now you are living in Hannah's reality. Okay? And this reality allows her to cope up with sorrow in a different lens, which is toxic to you. Because it will also create a toxic way of you dealing with your own sorrow. Once the sorrow is heightened, you will decide to go to the clubbing. Okay? Maybe clubbing. I don't know if that is the spelling. Maybe smash some, maybe pleasure, right? Because that will release some stress that Hannah is causing. And this creates weakness in a man. And once you are weak, you will consistently have a pattern of pleasure or clubbing. Consistently, every time you experience the toxic sorrow, because we have the healthy sorrow. The healthy sorrow is when you feel in a certain way, and then you can't identify that energy that is being caused by something, but it's just a feeling that exists in you, and it has nothing to do with someone doing a certain thing. It is a healthy sorrow that you need to experience. But once you are experiencing that sorrow, then she starts doing certain things that will cause you to feel a certain way. Now it is a toxic sorrow, because sorrow in it itself, it exists in a humankind. But that is her own way of coping with sorrow. We always want to experience the happiness, sense, the joyful. We can see children laugh, play. We only want to experience that. And that is what turns everything upside down. When we experience the sorrow sense, now everything is wrong. No. That is what is. It's what exists. Experience that sorrow. Now, she can't know that is what is, because the thought is always finding a problem and it is in control of her. And the person in front of her is the problem, why she is feeling the way she is feeling. Let me give you an example. Years back, I can remember how this happened to me years back and how I handled it. I was dating this guy, right? And every time we are conversing, everything is just okay. We are okay, fine, we are happy. After getting intimate, now everything is fine, everyone is happy. All of us, all of a sudden, like, I just felt this extraordinary negative energy in me. She wasn't the problem. I mean, he wasn't the problem. But I could feel something, a negative energy in me. And I was eating, was it rice? Yeah, it was rice. And then I asked him, when will we ever grow? I knew he was still in school, so that wasn't the right question for me to ask him. Why? I'm trying to find a reason why I'm feeling this negative energy. It's because we are never growing. There is a problem. Thought is always finding a problem. Because the negative energy in you is sorrow. That is the sense that exists in a humankind. And thought is always controlling you to find a solution to that energy. There must be a problem. And I remember throwing a plate of rice on the wall, because I couldn't just hit him with a plate of rice. Because he responded by telling me, what do you want me to do? I'm still in school. Okay? Now, my sense of sorrow heightened. His sense of sorrow, now he is also experiencing the negative energy. And he doesn't know that, but what he knows, I told him that, and now he is heightened. And now he responded back negatively, and now I'm judging him that he doesn't love it. Now I'm throwing a plate of rice on the wall. Why? That is the sense of sorrow. Equals to women never loving you until they learn the sense of sorrow exists in a humankind. And you can never always be happy. Never. Never. It can never work. Why? Her thought is always solving something. And it can't always be about love. It has to be about something else. And the thought is in control of her. Why? It is a psychological trick. Why? It is what exists in reality. Why? That is what is. Okay. I'm walking today down the hill. I can see children laughing. I can feel the nature and the extraordinary beauty of the blue sky. I can see how green the world is, right? So there is joy, there is happiness in that moment. And then, remember, in this sense, in these experiences, there is always a sense of sorrow. That is just what exists in that moment of joy and happiness. Now, for women, the sorrow is influenced more by the thought because they are always using the psychological analyzation to gain clarity why the sorrow is happening. I must understand. I need to know. Something is wrong. I need to fix this. There is a threat. Something is not working. That is the sense of sorrow. Now, it's about you, Isaac. You are the problem. You need to fix this. This is why this is happening. But the thought is telling her this is why this is happening because she is in the moment of sorrow. That sense. She doesn't choose what to experience. Why? She is being influenced by thought. And until she experiences the negative emotions consistently because sorrow has a specific feeling in it and she doesn't know how to deal with that. The only way she can deal with that is to start chaos. When she starts chaos and then you respond with the same chaos and then there is drama and turmoil and then there is negativity. That negative energy allows her to deal with the sorrow that she is experiencing. So it's you are the one I'm supposed to blame. But reality is, there is just that sense of sorrow that exists. So she doesn't know that is what exists in her. The thought tells her something is wrong. And then when there is negativity, and then maybe in the future you solve that problem. Now, there was actually a problem because you solved the problem. And the things were okay. No. Sorrow is what she tried to solve. But remember, it won't stop. It will happen in the near future. Now, it won't be about your financial problems. It won't be about how you are not good on bed. It won't be about you coming late always from work. It will be about something else. Who? It will be about that side chick that she thinks you have because you never picked her call. Why? She has a proof. She has an evidence because thought tells her that is the problem. Thought is the thinker. It must find a problem in it. And that is what she is experiencing, the sorrow. But something must be wrong. That is what the thought is telling her. And it's always in control. But we all know problems, knowledge, they are always limited. Thought, it's always limited. That is now when there is division, conflict, drama, chaos. You are living in your past. Okay? When you are modifying your present, you are supposed to use these past experiences as a way to enlighten you, modify your present in a healthy way. But for you, you are living in your past. Among these 5 women, one of them was the love of your life. She broke your heart, so she changed you to have a different perspective about women. And now how you are modifying your present is more of, I just need to smash, which is pleasure, and leave. But still you have a relationship with what? Pleasure. Because this lady, who was the love of your life, broke your heart. As long as you have a relationship with something outside you, then there is a problem. So this past becomes your present, which is pleasure, which is a problem. Because you have a relationship with your past. Do you know why the love of your life never dated you? Because she never identified or created a relationship with you. Okay? And now that you have a relationship with your past, you are living in your memories. She changed you. When you date a woman, you just sleep with her. So you are again creating a relationship with something outside you, which is pleasure, which is there is a problem. But you can modify your present in a better way when you identify your past as it is supposed to happen, for you to understand that past experiences, they were supposed to enlighten me on that, and they were not meant to break my heart. Because when you say you changed or you are acting this way because of your ex, then there is conflict and division. Because at this very moment, you are being influenced by pleasure, for the pleasure is being controlled by thought. Okay? And since there is thought, and you think actually things happen the way they happened, and you are the problem, now relying on this pleasure allows you to build yourself in a very different manner. Okay? And the thought controlled you to have pleasure consistently. Now you lost your identity, and you never used your past as a way of enlightening the present and modifying the present in a healthy way. Rather, you told yourself, maybe I shall just get pleasure with women, which equals to weakness, because you are not using these to enlighten yourself. You are using these to create a different object. At this moment, you might have to act toxic and become the bad boy that women rely on when they don't know how to deal with their past. Because they know you can't get attached, but you become an object for toxic women. Every time you have a problem with her, you think that is the reason why she is acting that way. But reality is there is just an evidence that confirms that is how she feels, yet there is just sense of sorrow. And that is what exists. She used to experience joy, now she needs to experience sorrow so that she can deal with that sorrow. Now there is no love. You thought she loved you. She changed. Now she doesn't know how to deal with sorrow. She doesn't know if the sorrow sense even exists. She knows you are always the problem. Now, this is the weird part. When she is experiencing that sense of sorrow, she doesn't know how to deal with it. She is also heightening your sense of sorrow because it also exists in you, Isaac. When she heightens it passively with her energy, now you also experience sorrow. But you don't know it's sorrow, the sense that is being heightened. Now, at this very moment, there are only different types of ways you can deal with that, which is involve yourself in pleasure, sex with multiple women. That is what you will do. Oh, my wife is giving me a lot of problems. I need to deal with this. No. Her sorrow and your sorrow sense is colliding because she heightened your sorrow. That sense exists in a humankind and it's worth knowing. Now, the only way you can deal with it is engaging in pleasure. Why? You saw an attractive lady and now that triggered you and you want to postpone that feeling. Let me end up with Hannah and enjoy some pleasure. No, let me go have some drink with my friend Isaac. Not a one-time thing. The next time it happens, you will go to the same bar. The next time it happens, you will go to the same bar. Why? Your wife creates problem. She does. That heightens your sense of sorrow. That is her only way of coping and dealing with the sense of sorrow. Is it healthy? No, it's not. What are you supposed to do? And how is she supposed to deal with it? Interesting, right? My wife changed. Yeah, she will change. As far as you entertain her coping mechanism to be you, you are the problem. And the love that you thought she had towards you is never there. Sometimes this sorrow, when someone is dealing with it, we name it as depression. Nothing will solve that sense of sorrow. Nothing. That is just what exists and it's just what is, and you need to experience the emotions and feeling by sitting in it. After 2 years, there's something happened to me. Extraordinary negative energy. And at this time, I'm single. So I have no one to blame, right? So maybe it's because I'm not in a relationship. That is the blame game. But now that can't solve me because I am not physically in an engagement, in a chaos, in a drama with someone. So I have to use my memories to finally blame my ex, right? My ex is the reason why I am depressed, why I feel this way, right? No. That couldn't even solve the existing sorrow. What solved? I just remember sitting in the corner of the house, and then I had nothing to do. For 1 full hour, I could experience that energy in a very weird way, whereby I can feel my hands burning. I can feel it, right? And the only way I can solve this is by doing something, maybe cracking a TV. If there was someone in front of me, I could have reacted in a negative way. I could feel the energy on my hands burning. I can feel my legs burn, my body swelling. I can feel that negative energy in it. And then I told myself, wow, this is the most treasured thing that I have ever experienced in my life. I just sat in that moment. Why? There is nothing to do. There is no one to blame. It is me against me. After 2 hours, all the energy that I thought is negative, now I feel the peace of mind again. Is it the way to deal with negativity and maybe that sorrow sense? I don't know. And I don't know if that is how I will deal with it in the future, because I won't know that I'm dealing with sorrow when I am dealing with sorrow at that time. Am I making sense? That is why I tell you, women will need to experience chaos and drama for them to go back to love, because the chaos and drama solve the sorrow sense that exists in humankind, but doesn't solve it. Just allows her to be in a moment of negativity, because the negativity is the sorrow sense that exists, and you need to treasure that moment alone so that you can feel that energy to again allow your brain, allow your mind to experience that as part of a living for you to move on. But now her part of living and the coping mechanism is starting chaos and drama for her to adapt and move on, and that is the only way she can survive. But you allowed her to always start chaos and drama. She knows that is the only way she can deal with it, because there is always a problem. She can never love you when she is in this sorrow sense until there is chaos and drama. If that is the circle, the circle that exists in her thought and in her memories. Now, let me say something that might be contradicting, okay? When we experience this sorrow, some of us, we worship it. Like Christians, we worship it in a manner, we cry. We cry for a longer period of time, then we sing in a negativity for a longer period of time, then we lament that negativity for a longer period of time. Now we are worshiping it. That is how some of you deal with it, and maybe that habit works for you, but that is just what exists, right? The second way of dealing with it is going to the church. The motive behind you going to the church is what matters. Are you going to the church because you want the church to solve your sorrow sense? Then the motive behind that is unhealthy. But you want the church to solve the sorrow sense. No, it cannot. The church can help you learn and gain more knowledge and not solve your sorrow sense. No one can help you. That is what exists. So, when you realize that the church can't solve your sorrow sense, what do? When you realize that the church can't solve your sorrow sense, what do? You engage in sexual pleasures. Again, that is a habit. So you are looking for a habit to survive that sorrow sense. The church can't help you. The sexual pleasure can't help you. Why? Because that is what exists in a humankind. End of the thing, end of the object that you perceive in a negative way, when you are in your sorrow sense, it will heighten it. Your wife will heighten it when she is experiencing the same thing. So, the church can't solve your sorrow sense. Now you stop going to the church. Why? The motive behind you going to the church, being a Christian, was the church must solve your sorrow sense. That is just what exists. And a humankind has to feel that negative energy. That is what is. And you have to treasure it. Right? That is a very unique moment to be in. Now, you blame the church. You now engage in sexual pleasures with different types of women because women can identify now you are weak. And I can see what you are paying attention to, what my tits. That is what makes you weak. But reality is you don't know how to deal with your sorrow sense, even when it's being heightened by your lady. You end up start sleeping around with who? Hannah, Christine, Mary, you name them. Eventually, it's the same shit, they taste the same way, and you want to exit. You have already created a different pattern that you thought will help you. Now you want to exit after these women have used you as you are their fantasies. They never really wanted a serious relationship. They identified the weakness in you, and now they found a way to deal with you by dressing in a sexy way. Yeah, this is personal. Now, at this very moment, right? You are understanding that Christine is not that much attractive. Hannah is not that much attractive. She trusts the same way as your wife is your girlfriend. Your thought is controlling you because her sorrow sense pushed you in different types of ways. You go back to the church to repent. In any way you will, some will not. Still the sorrow sense exists. You can't just know what's happening, what's going on. There is a habit that is in your head, it is a memory, and now your body is relying on it. When nothing makes sense, you try to rush to the club. Maybe alcohol. Anything. Why? Because that is the only way something can make sense when your wife starts chaos and drama. And now your sense of sorrow can't be identified by you. You can't experience those feelings. You think she causes you the chaos and the drama. You think she is the problem. She is the problem and you are the problem. Both of you are the problem. I know this is personal. Somehow most of you won't like it. But I'm very sure it will help you. If you understand it in a manner of sorrow just exists. Be it there is happiness, there is pleasure, there is listening the word of God. Sorrow still exists. It doesn't go away. Some have managed to look for a better way to deal with sorrow. Maybe just praying. And then accepting the fate. Believing that God will make you strong enough to deal with what sorrow sense comes with. It is a healthy way. Believe, faith, and then it happens, then the face moves to the next phase, which is happiness. What if that is just an illusion? I mean, what if the sorrow is just an illusion? And what you experience, the energy that you feel is negative, how you feel your body burning, suffering, what if that is just a feeling that exists in a humankind and everyone needs to experience that feeling and not label it as sorrow? And that is a special thing that exists in a human being. What if that is the truth? That is the fact. Because no one knows. We are just labeling things, labeling feelings. Because the moment you label it, it heightens the feelings itself. Yet you are supposed to experience that feeling in your body so that it can create a stronger muscle inside yourself for you to deal with it the next time it happens to you. What if that's the feeling that exists? Now, is it making sense when I tell you women will never love you? They need to experience the chaos and drama. Or do I need more explanation? Then you need to go back to the drawing board with me so that you can understand this in a better way. Are you a new member? Are you still believing in your own illusions that women will forever love you? Then you are fucked. That is just a fact. She will never love you. Not because of the sorrow sense alone, but because she doesn't know what exists in the real world. She is using her past memories and her past experiences to live her present and modify her present, but only in a wrong lens. And knowing that allows you to deal with her, rather to live with her without getting attached to her. That is the best way to have a relationship with your wife. I believe so. Maybe I'm wrong. Everyone is always wrong, right?